Did you know that good things can happen when neighboring nations compete? I was fortunate to be born on the German-French border, and when I was a child, of course, there were events on both sides of the family, the French people and the German people, and everybody was cooking up a storm. Food was always a big deal in my families. I'm very grateful for that. So the French side of the family had a little side dish that the Germans would all go nuts about and didn't know about, and it's a little potato dish. It's they call it médaillon de pommes de terre, so medallions of potatoes. We ended up in Germany, once the word got out, potato cookies, and it was the coolest thing for me as a kid, and my friends and other relatives, young people. Never mind the meat, never mind the fish, but those potato thingies, they were just beautiful. So going back and forth over the years, the Germans thought, oh, we can do this too. So they incorporated all kinds of things that would be more typical for Germany, while the French would work with the truffle oils and the fresh herbs and smoked duck. The Germans were more basic into the fatty bacons and herbs as well. So I'll show you one version today that I think is quite nice. It's my favorite version of it. So it's as simple as, we'll call it a potato cookie. Welcome to my kitchen. So for those potatoes, I've already cooked potatoes, boiled potatoes in their skin, put them through a ricer. You can use a masher. It can be very fine, it can be a little coarse. Again, this is going back and forth, a ton of variations of these that I've tried between my two parts of the family. Either way works. These are just Yukon Gold potatoes, mashed, and we're gonna just add a few things to them. Always start with an onion, of course. I have a little shallot here, a little more delicate in flavor. And you want to make sure you chop it very, very thin, because those medallions are only going to be in the fry pan for a very short period of time. So you don't want to bite into hard, raw onion. So spend a little bit of extra time on chopping the onion really, really fine. It'll be worth it. And this is falling apart on me, so we'll have to go to plan B and use a bigger knife. There we go, this should do. Second, we're using a bit of parsley. Same idea, just chopped very finely. And this process, you might want to start early, because once we've mixed it all into the potatoes, you want to have it sit in your fridge covered for about half an hour or an hour. It'll be easier to form the medallions later when it had a chance to sit for a little while in your cold fridge. Cheese, I'm using mozzarella, but feta cheese is really nice, or any cheese you like. You can also grate a bit of a Parmesan into it. I like the milder version, just to let the potato be the main star in this dish. So this goes in. Make it a little easier here. And to hold it together, we'll whisk up 1 egg. And in it goes. For seasoning, I'm just doing plain salt and pepper. Of course, ground pepper, my favorite. A bit of salt. A little bit of nutmeg. Don't overdose on your nutmeg, but put enough in so that you actually can taste it a little bit. There we go, that's just about right. Thyme, dried, and just a tiny bit of lemon juice. And this is really it. That's going to be our main performer. So we'll mix it up nicely. I would say the best way to mix it is with your hands. And I think that's what I'm going to do here. Smells good. You can smell the thyme and the onion. Make sure you incorporate the egg nicely and evenly. And you can see how that turns just a little wet. But once it's sat in your fridge for half an hour or an hour, it'll be much better to shape. There we go. We'll cover it, and off in the fridge it goes. Leeks are one of the main components. Leeks, mushrooms, tomatoes, a little bit of ham, and onion again. You can slice it, dice it, any way you like. For the leeks, keep in mind they come by nature pretty dirty. So make sure you take the outer leaf off. You cut a little bit of the green tip off. I use the green and the light color. But wash it very, very thoroughly, or you're going to end up having dirt caught in the leeks inside. So I always make a cut lengthwise, open it up, and then cut it in slices. I've already done that, and I've blanched the leeks for about 3 to 4 minutes in some boiling salted water. We're going to need this to go in the pan together with the onions. Oil going in. We'll start with our onions. And now they're sauteing. We can add some button mushrooms I chose for this one. We can do large chunks, small pieces, any way you prefer. And for the tomato, I would say don't cut it too small because they have a tendency to fall apart once they go into a hot pan. Leeks, ham, and tomatoes are prepared. We'll add a bit of vegetable broth. And some cream. And there we go. If you're lucky and you have a garden, you have beautiful tomatoes. Cut them in large chunks. Again, this is a very, very simple dish, but very flavorful if the tomato is right. So try to get a really ripe, nice, fleshy tomato for this salad. Very few ingredients. You're going to be amazed how simple it is to make. But it definitely is a great salad. For this, all we need is a little bit of an onion. And for this salad, I'm not going to go finely chopped, but quite chunky. And the third piece, I'll need a fresh board for that. We'll take the crust off, and I'll let you use a knife for this part, but not for the next part, because that's what's going to make a big difference when you make homemade croutons for this specific salad. We're just going to tear it apart in larger pieces, just like this. That should be enough. And you can tell it's not just tomato, it's more like a bread salad with some tomatoes. These will go in a fry pan with a bit of olive oil and butter. So we'll move over to the stove. Okay, once the olive oil is heated up a bit, we're adding a little bit of butter to give those croutons a nice flavor. And in they go. Sourdough bread for me works the best, and it makes a big difference if you cut your bread or tear it in little pieces, because you have so much more surface to fry in that lovely olive oil butter mix. So for the salad, seasoning very simple, salt, bit of pepper, and I'm using a white balsamic vinegar to go on this. And some olive oil. Be generous with the seasoning because we're incorporating the bread into this still. So you want enough of the dressing flavor to cover it all. And there we go. I don't know if you can hear that sizzling when the hot croutons hit the cold tomatoes. Beautiful. This step you want to make right before you serve it. Don't let the bread go soggy on your salad. So as you put it out on the table, just do what I did now. Add it on. Mix it just a little bit. And there we go. Chives work very well on this salad too. Et voila. There's your side to the side dish of potato cookies. I've done a little bit of cleaning up. In the meantime, we're back and adding just the remaining components into our sauce, which is now nicely reduced. So we put in the leeks. Turn the heat up a little bit. So we just want to warm those things up. We don't want the tomatoes to go too soft. And the ham is already cooked. Oops. Oh, look at the mess I'm making. There we go. So while we get ready to do our potatoes, this can just be on a slightly warm plate. Don't boil it because the sauce has already reduced. We don't want much more than that. For the potatoes, very simple. It's already, they sat in the fridge. See, it's not quite as wet anymore. So you just take a portion at a time, form a little ball, dip it in a little bit of flour, set it on the side for now. And once we've rolled up a few, we'll take them over into the pan, fry them up, and then we're almost ready to eat. I wouldn't be worried about getting them all beautiful and even, because part of the charm is that bit of a rustic look that the French can pull off so elegantly. Shake off the excess flour. You don't want more on it than you need. We're just adding a little bit so they don't stick to your pan and fry up nicely and crispy. Maybe one more. In our pan, we are adding some olive oil. Look at the happy colors of that sauce. Isn't that pretty? So we are flattening those just a little bit, about even thickness before they go into the pan. And that's a bit tricky because the batter is quite soft. So here's your potato cookies, médaillon pomme de terre. Again, like I said earlier, you can mix into those potatoes anything you like, really. If it's smoked meats, or you can even do a seafood version of that, quite interesting. anything you like. While this is all finishing, I'll just cut a couple of little tomatoes, just as a garnish that we're going to sprinkle over top to make it look pretty. Herb of your preference, I'm using a bit of tarragon here for color. Fresh herbs always add some happiness. So we're almost ready to give this a try. The potatoes are frying happily, the sauce is ready, the garnish is ready, our side salad's ready, and we'll be right back, and we might even have a surprise guest for you.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Was the perfect town to host a steampunk festival because it already is a steampunk village. We have the historic grist mill, stone library, we have the authentic historic main street, and we actually are the only festival that takes an entire village and steampunks it for a day. Steampunk is Victorian industrial or retro futurism, all based in a spirit of fun and play. There seems to be an abundance of local artists and very, very creative people in an idyllic, authentic, historic village.
This is Rogers TV.
Okay, ready to eat. Welcome, Reese, and thank you for helping out. We have the producer's son dropping in on us today, helping out, so we'll make him eat, of course. We've stacked two of those little potato thingies on top of each other. I'm gonna just add a little bit of pepper.
Of course.
You like pepper?
Love pepper.
One more turn. I love pepper too. And tomatoes fresh from the garden on top.
Perfect.
And tarragon. You better like herbs when you eat at my kitchen. I love, love, love fresh greens.
And what kind of flavor does the tarragon add to it?
Oh, tarragon. What is tarragon? It's almost a little licorice-y, I want to say.
Okay.
Very hard to describe, but it's very distinct. It's very, have you had it before, fresh?
I haven't.
Try. Let's have a try.
right.
Please go ahead. And we're gonna have a bit of salad with this meal. I'm gonna just reach right in front of you there. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Wish you could taste with us.
Yes.
That would be nice. So Reese, if you don't like it at all, you still have to keep up the smiling face, right? You know that that's part of the show.
Yep, got it.
Let's try it. It'll be hot. Warning, warning. And I'm curious what you think of the tarragon.
That's very nice.
Yes?
Yeah, yeah.
What's missing? Anything? Salt? Pepper?
Maybe a little bit more salt.
There you go. Same for me. Oops, we'd get along just fine.
But I think everything else seems to complement itself pretty well here. So.
What do you think of the tarragon?
It's nice.
Can you get it? Can you
I can,
taste
but it blends in because it's, you know, you sort of said it had, what did you say, sort of almost a
Licoricey almost,
but
yeah,
when it's
I don't
blended
even know
in
how
here,
to...
you don't taste it, but
Yep.
it blends in nicely.
And the ham adds, for the non-vegetarian food lovers, something for me because I love meat.
Yeah, me too.
But you can tell this is very easily a vegetarian meal if you skip the ham.
Right,
It's very
right.
simple to do, right?
And I mean, other than the preparation of the potatoes, it seems relatively quick and fast to make too.
It's a simple, inexpensive meal, like so many meals used to be 100 years ago when
Right.
we didn't have the luxury of the grocery stores that we
Right.
have today. These things were pretty well in your garden, plus the meat. Unless you had a pig or two in your backyard, which
Right,
wasn't
right.
unusual in those days either. Well, I'm hoping this will inspire you to try a couple of simple things. Do the potato cakes as a side with a roast, for example, very nice, or with a steak. And you can sprinkle, if you want to skip the sauce, you can just sprinkle all kinds of things on it, like a bit of cheese, a bit of feta cheese crumbled, herbs always, or sautéed vegetables. Very versatile. So I hope you like the show and you like the idea of this dish. Give it a try, let us know how you liked it. We'll see you next time in Ester's Kitchen.